You're listening to WAKT 106.1. I'm Julian.
And I'm Ruth.
And welcome to another episode of
Together United. So happy to be here.
We're still alive.
Yes.
We're still alive.
Still alive.
So this is our weekly podcast where me and Ruth, activists, organizers,
educators,
and overall
sandwich philanthropists,
overall cool people, try to break down what's going on in our world with local politics and national politics all the way around the whole world.
Yes.
And maybe some pop culture mixed in there as well. Ruth,
shout out to Meg Thee Stallion.
Ruth, where can they find you on the social medias?
On the social medias, you can find me on Facebook at Ruth Leonard. You can find me on Instagram at I'm_flippin_adorkable. You can find me on Twitter at Black Ms. Frizzle. And I refuse to streamline any of my social medias to all match each other.
Okay. You can find me at Golden Rule Mac on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And, we're trying to really build our audience. So we ask that all of you like, share, subscribe. And if you're listening on the radio, tell your friends about this. You can listen live at ToledoRadio.org. Yeah. All right, let's get straight into it. Democracy's trying to be stolen from us. And it's a problem. It's a problem. We have to talk about it. So, I tend to be someone that does not like to focus on the right. Like, I feel like they're...
What do you mean on the right?
On like this extreme far right wing in our country, because they
like Republicans.
Well, yeah, to an extent, because I feel like they argue in bad faith.
Okay.
And there's no point in even entertaining a lot of what they say.
They on that BS.
So I try to just ignore it.
They a bunch of liars.
And focus on how we can best serve our community. But we have to address. Donald Trump this is not a joke or a game. Donald Trump is seriously trying to steal this election. I don't think he's going to do it or be successful.
I wish he would just leave.
I know, but let's bring up that first clip from John Oliver. Now, I highly suggest you watch the John Oliver show. He does a great breakdown of all of the different tactics that Donald Trump is trying to use. But I want you to... We're really focusing this particular clip on what that rhetoric is getting us to.
Right.
I think if we're not, I don't really want to give credence to the conspiracy theories and all of that, but I think as a community, it's important we focus on what could be tomorrow. Right. And I think this gives a great summation of where we are really as a country.
Insist that the election was stolen in big cities and suggest that remedying this calls for the biggest fight since the Civil War. Things start to get deadly serious. Last Thursday, 2 armed men were arrested outside a Philadelphia convention center after police had received a tip about a threat to the vote counting site. And one of the city commissioners in charge of ballot counting, a Republican, by the way, has been understandably rattled by the chaos engulfing his office.
From the inside looking out, it feels all very deranged. It's people making accusations that we wouldn't count those votes, or people are adding fraudulent votes, or just coming up with just all sorts of crazy stuff.
Accusations like you are cheating.
Yes.
You are manipulating the vote.
Yes. Or calls to our offices reminding us that this is what the Second Amendment is for. People like us.
You're getting calls like that?
Yes.
That's a not so veiled death threat.
Yes. For counting votes in a democracy.
That's awful. And Trump is...
Yeah. So that's essentially awful, but that is basically where we're at right now. Right? There's a
collection of people who for some reason believe that because they choose to have Donald Trump be their czar that electoral politics and democracy does not matter. And for whatever reason, they are allowed to go unchecked. For the most part. Now, yes, there are those outliers who get a little too big and too bad and too bold who end up being arrested. But there's also a large level of support for people who get too big, too bad, and too bold, who then get bailed out of jail. So that's my issue, because I know that as someone who voted for Kerry in, what was that, 04?
Mm-hmm.
Who voted for Kerry in 04 and who sat in her college dorm room
I can't
just
believe
distraught.
I can't believe I did too. I cried too. I am so embarrassed at the fact that I cried
Like,
when John Kerry lost.
I was
Like,
sitting there.
what was the world back then?
Like,
I
oh
cannot
my God,
believe I did that.
my vote doesn't matter. I was distraught. And then I
am
did the same
so
thing
embarrassed by
when
that.
Trump was elected, where I said, oh my gosh, this world is literally about to fall apart. Now, yes, I was right. The world fell apart. But I did not have the unmitigated gall to attempt to bend the will of democracy by putting someone else's life in danger. And I think that's where there's this major disconnect. And I won't even say it's between Democrats and Republicans, because I feel like there are some outliers on the Democratic side who are just as passionate and who are willing to put it all out on the line. Now, probably not for a presidential election, but for, like basic human rights.
They're putting Trump above country.
Yeah. And
Right.
that's the thing that I don't
That's
understand.
cult-ish, right? Like there are some we don't make America great by putting, even for the first time, right? By elevating one demagogue over
Right.
the collective. No one else is saying that their election was rigged but Donald Trump,
Right.
right? There are...
But he's been consistent about that messaging for the past year. And that's the thing that dictators do.
There are like 90,000 elected positions in America.
Right.
And out of like the 90,000 elected positions one can have, he is literally the only one that's saying he got cheated, right? Which is ridiculous.
And honestly, this has been said many, many times. But if we really, really, really were able to cheat in the election, do you think that we would have chosen Mitch McConnell? Like, honestly, come
Right.
on.
Nothing's gonna right.
Come on. Like, if we would have had like this big conspiracy to cheat,
There are $45 million spent on the Kentucky Senate race.
we would have cheated across the
Right?
board.
Why wouldn't that be,
But that's not what this was. This was democracy in action. This is people registering to vote, sometimes for the first time. This is people going out and either absentee voting or voting in person in early voting or on election day. This is people who are finally getting engaged in record numbers in their democratic right to participate in an election. That's not cheating. That's democracy.
And like there are these third grade arguments. Like they're so transparent and easy to see through.
Right.
There's like absolutely no evidence.
None.
You know what I mean?
None. And no matter how hard he tries with each and every state that comes in, it's just like, well, even though we lost the court case, and even though the judge threw it out, and even though everything that we've looked up and researched and attempted to prove that it was widespread voter fraud has come back, that they were legal ballots, quote unquote, it's still cheating. And it's like, but like everything that you attempted to do to prove your point has been proven on the other side. So like, at what point do you just like wake up and realize that you lost? That's what I don't understand. Like, why there are people who are around him who are continuing to feed into his delusions of grandeur, like he's still winning the election. Like, at some point you have to realize that you are no longer supporting someone who has the best interest of the country at heart. And that's what I'm waiting for people to wake up and see, because I've heard arguments for a while that talk about the fact of whether or not the Republican Party is ever going to recover from Trump. And I honestly do not think it is. I do not think we will ever go back to a time where it's about Republican values and not putting Trump above country. And that's what worries me the most, because there was a hard left into that overt racism that we had to live with for 4 years. And now that it's out and it's on the table, we as a country have to figure out what is the next step. And with Biden and Kamala and this new administration, I think it's going to be very telling where we are 4 years from now, whether or not there can be a level of correction that holds America to task for the wretched indignity of slavery, whether or not there's going to be some form of accountability for slavery, whether there's going to be some form of accountability for over policing. That's what I'm saying. Whether or not there's going to be some form of accountability for white supremacy in this country. Like that's the amount of overcorrection that's necessary to deal with the past 4 years. Now, will that happen? Like Julian said, probably not. It's probably not going to happen. But that's the polar opposite of where we are currently. So,
me and Ruth really tried hard to figure out exactly what we were going to talk about, and I worked really hard on getting clips lined up. But then, like, what do I do? As soon as the show starts, I find and think of something else.
Of course.
So I actually have a clip that segues exactly perfect into, I think the next point that I really want to make, and it's a clip from a nurse from South Dakota. Who's talking about some of the struggles that she's having because some of the patients don't believe that they actually have COVID, or that essentially that COVID is real. And, this derives from that rhetoric of Donald Trump, right? More than anybody, he's saying that this isn't true, or this isn't real, or it's mind power and you can get over it. So we're going to go ahead and roll that clip right now.
On the front lines in South Dakota is Jody Doring. She's a registered nurse who has called the coronavirus crisis in her state, quote, a horror movie that never ends. Nurse Doring, thank you so much for being here. When I read some of your tweets, my jaw dropped. You said that even now, that the hospital is being overrun with COVID patients. They come in, they're horribly ill, they're gasping for breath, and yet they don't believe they have COVID?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing to watch is that people are still looking for something else, and they want a magic answer, and they don't want to believe that COVID is real. And the reason I tweeted what I did is it wasn't one particular patient. It's just a culmination of so many people. And their last dying words are, this can't be happening. It's not real. And when they should be spending time FaceTiming their families, they're filled with anger and hatred. And it just made me really sad the other night. And I just can't believe that those are going to be their last thoughts and words.
Anger and hatred towards you?
I think it's just a belief that it's not real, and nursing happens to be on the receiving end of that. And that's okay. We can take that. That's what you're there for. It's just in the bigger picture when you try to reason with people of, can I call your family, your kids, your wife, your friend, your brother? And they say no, because I'm going to be fine. And you're watching their oxygen levels, maxed out on what we call vapotherm at 100%, and their oxygen level might be 75. That's not really that compatible with life. And we know where that's going to head. And it just makes you sad and mad and frustrated. And then you know that you're just going to come back and do it all over again. And that's kind of where that stemmed from.
How could it not make your own head explode? They're gasping for breath. Their oxygen levels are dropping. What do they think is wrong with them?
I think people look for anything. People want it to be influenza. They want it to be pneumonia. They want it to be I mean, we've even had people say, well, I think maybe it might be lung cancer. I mean, something so far-fetched. And the reality is, since day one, when COVID started in this area in March, you've kind of been able to say, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Like, I hate to tell you that you have COVID, but that's what you have. You know, even after positive results come back, some people just don't believe it. Now, that's not everybody. We have a lot of patients who are very, very grateful for their care and very thankful for what you do. But unfortunately, that's not what I'm remembering right now. And as my nursing career, that's not what I want to be remembering for. I want to remember the saves and the happy situation.
Okay. So, oops. All right. So, I mean, we're dealing with something that I think is, you know, a lot of people talk about Trump is the symptom, not the cause of the problem. But I think we're on the precipice of something that is relatively new in America. And I think this, you know, depending on what happens with Trump and what he does after his administration, there's a lot of speculation. Will he go to jail? Will he go to Russia? Will he start his own network to compete with Fox News? There's a lot of speculation out there. But Trumpism, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here or exaggerate, it is a cult. And some of these people are willing to literally die for the false belief, for these false beliefs. I mean, for this essentially false prophet. You know, there are folks that aren't protecting themselves or others from COVID. They're getting COVID and they're denying that it's the reality all the way to the grave. And, you know, I know there are some Republicans, right, that listen to our podcast or watch our show. You know, let me say this, and you know, the questions came up, what are Republican values? I mean, I think that that's something that is worth a discussion, because right now, like, there was no platform in the Republican National Convention. It was just Trump. It wasn't like small government, let's spend less money. It's just spend a bunch here.
They had to drain the swamp. That's the main thing that I remember. It was a lot of talk of draining the swamp, of bringing in a new form of government that wasn't filled with a bunch of the same old, party people. But that's really the main thing. And I feel like even draining the swamp, it took on a whole new meaning once Trump got in office, because he really didn't do that. He actually brought in more snakes and other swamp-like creatures. So,
yo, can I read this rant, please, that one of my Facebook friends said? It's about draining the swamp, and it goes into that perfectly.
Oh, nice.
The phrase often used to describe draining the swamp, the phrase often used to describe the DC political landscape, shows Americans' love for euphemisms at the expense of common sense and complete thoughts. Swamps, as biological and geographic spaces, are some of the cleanest and most self-sustaining spaces on the planet. Not to mention, the draining of swamps would be the worst thing you could do to an ecosystem for part of the cleaning process of these environmental spaces is pushing all of the harmful agents to the bottom so as to discard all of them. This too also speaks for the lack of understanding that is America's political system. DC isn't filled with harmful agents. Instead, it acts as the seat of all that is necessary to clean our political system. The corruption that exists in DC can't be corrected there, the proverbial top of the swamp, but instead this process must take place at and in the state voting booths, the proverbial bottom. Yet we continue to talk in these sexy euphemisms that blind us to what's necessary to correct the problem. Also, this line of thinking strips us of our power to rid ourselves of useless politicians. Furthermore, draining the swamp, as evident, all of the world would cause so much. Furthermore, draining the swamp, as evident, all of the world would cause so much environmental erosion that we would lose many important life forms and so much land. This is also the case in politics. Draining DC does nothing to correct our political problem. It only erodes so much necessary infrastructure. The biological and geological understanding of American politics, as articulated by my black ass, who is by Mondale Robinson, who is a organizer, who is an organizer with Black Men Vote. I thought that was well said.
Okay.
So as far as Drain the Swamp.
Okay. Okay.
But back to Donald Trump.
You took a hard left.
You're talking about Drain the Swamp.
I know, but that was still a hard left.
Well, it's true though. Drain, like the whole premise, like, and that's the thing. Is some of the
this was
so much of what we're talking about Trumpisms, right? Just to bring it back. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back. We're talking about Trumpisms and the belief in Trumpism and how that is toxic and really a cult-like belief system. Right. Even if you look at, fine, you can not like politics, but when you buy into this belief of, believing what Trump says based upon no fact, you know what I mean? It is harmful to individuals. It's harmful to our society, and it's harmful to our political and economic infrastructure. Right. And even something that sounds as innocent, right, is draining the swamp, right, is a toxic, self-destructive act for American government and is not based upon any type of coherent logic at all. Right? Because if you will actually want to drain the swamp, that doesn't happen from the top. It happens from a grassroots level. To break it down with what the brother was saying. Right? So there's so much in every single symptom of Trumpism is toxic and dare I say deadly, right? And here's the thing is we're at a moment now where it's clear to those with any common sense that Donald Trump is going to lose. He's on a sinking ship. Yet there are people in power that still fear him and are willing to give him credibility that actually destroys American lives.
Yes.
Right. And I think that is what is, frankly, completely disgusting me with the Republican Party right now. Right. With your Lindsey Grahams, right. With your Mitch McConnells. Okay. None of this was stolen. Right. None of it, COVID-19 is real. Kamala Harris is black. Barack Obama was born in America. Joe Biden's not Satan. These are, and Joe Biden's not trying to defund the police. Right. These are, you try and have a conversation with someone in this Trump universe, right? All of these things, it's overwhelming. I think it's overwhelming, but the holidays are coming up, and we don't have any Trump supporters like that in my family, right? But I know a lot of my white friends do. And I wonder, there's a whole other conversation on whether or not we should be meeting up with family during this time, and I get it. But I wonder, I had a conversation with, I think it was some people with the DSA yesterday about like, how do we become more effective? And I just wonder, like, at what point does the light bulb go off with 70 plus million Americans that voted for him, that so much of what he said and has built his entire life, campaign, and presidency on is completely based upon lies? Like, at some point, unless as a society we come to that type of reckoning, I'm worried about where Joe Biden trying to work with other people is not going to go anywhere. You see what I'm saying?
But that's what I was talking about. The fact that there needs to be that level of correction in the next 4 years under the Biden presidency. That's where I was talking about the fact of there needs to be some form of recognition for the complete depravity of slavery, for white supremacy, for basically the way that Black men and women are treated in this country. There needs to be some level of responsibility taken by the federal government for that. That's what's needed in order to have these real changes, or these necessary changes, systemically and through society. And as you said, that's not going to happen.
Right.
There's never going to be a moment when America will say, our bad, we apologize for, slavery and Jim Crow, war on drugs, war on poverty.
I feel like we're trying to get to the moon, and there's part of and there's 70 million Americans that still think the Earth is flat, right? Like, I like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we're living in two different proverbial centuries.
Yes, but that's already been established. It's already been established that people who watch Fox News and people who watch CNN are living two completely different lives. That's already known, because what's said on Fox News is the truth for them. What's said on CNN is the truth for them.
It's not even Fox News now, though. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Like the OAN.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, there is another level, and that's what I think that. That's what I think is not, maybe I'm not making clear here, is there's another level of Trumpism that he's on the precipice of that's brighter than Fox News.
But that's not, he's not even on the precipice of it. If you have people,
he's in it, yeah.
Yes, if you have people who are dying and their last breaths are being used to say, it wasn't COVID.
It wasn't COVID, right.
Then
we're already here.
We're already here. Like, you have to accept that. You have to accept that as just like the reality of what it is. People have died in living in the fallacy of a Trump presidency, or a Trump, the belief that Trump can do no wrong. Yeah. Like, that's just, it is what it is. And I honestly think, and sorry, but I honestly think that people are going to have to lose enough family members or friends to come to grips with the fact that this is real. Like, they're going to have to continue to live their lives in the way that they are, where they're not taking any sort of precautions, and it's going to have to affect them directly. And that will be the only time that you will see any real changes, because otherwise it's just other people's opinions who don't really care, who don't really know, who it's this whole big conspiracy theory. And like you say, they're flat earthers. Science doesn't matter. Math doesn't matter.
Racism isn't real.
It's all of these different things that when they come together, they give you a version of reality that's not grounded in any type of fact. It's only opinions and all of these different hypotheses, when the proof is out there. Like, there's proof for lots of things, and yet they still don't believe it.
There's a 250,000 people, Americans dead in 8 months.
Yes, and they still don't believe it. So that's why I say, like, it's going to have to come down to individuals losing people who they care about, that will finally get them to understand, like, there has to be something at stake for them to really have that light switch on, and for them to say, oh, you know what? I should follow science, follow math.
And these people are like, there's a solid slice, I'll say. Like, I don't think that all Trump voters are preparing, like, are science deniers or don't believe in COVID. And, you know, I don't think all of them are that, but I do think that there's a significant slice of them that are like, I'm trying not to use problematic language, but like are crazy and waiting for a civil war, right? Like,
look, I'll put it to you like this.
This is real here.
My secret shame, okay? I know that we're not supposed to call them guilty pleasures, but my secret favorite show is Last Man Standing. Okay? You ever watch Last Man Standing? Last Man Standing is Tim Allen, and he is a father. He is a staunch Republican. He's got 3 girls, and his oldest daughter's boyfriend, fiance, baby daddy, husband is like the super liberal. And I watch that show in order to know what the other side is thinking, because I forgot whatever his character's name is, but his neighbor has a black military. He's black and he's former Marines, and his wife is Erica Alexander, and like, the show is ridiculous in how, like, gun-toting, Republican-loving, like, how much of a show that is. Because I think even he didn't believe in Trump. Like, even he was just like, yeah, this president is a little bit off the hinges. Yeah. And so, but I bring all that up to say that there is a part of the Republican Party, I think, that really, while they may not be, like, ready and preparing for a civil war, I think they know how to have those bunkers created. I think they know how to prepare for lockdown. And it's really weird because those are the same people who they pack and they prepare and they buy all their canned goods and they've got all their toilet paper and they've got months and months worth of stock ready. But when it came time to actually do it, then it was, oh my God, I have to stay in the house. I don't want to stay in the house. I'm not staying in the house. And then it was this whole big thing. So it's like, bro, what you prepping for?
Well, that's a very good point. You know,
don't get me started on Parler with all them grown men and probably women in there who spent all of 2020.
I joined Parler this week.
They spent all of 2020 crying and hollering and screaming about, oh, why you need a safe space? Why you need a safe space? Why you need a safe space? Why you need a safe space?
Parler is not a safe space because I'm on there. I will screenshot what you say, and you will lose your job.
Supremacist safe space.
No, it's
That's
not.
all it is. Because 9 times out of 10, they're probably not smart enough, or they probably are smart enough to change their names on there. But number 2, that's where you go to let all of your feelings out. And you have all these feelings that you don't feel like you're allowed to say on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram without being yelled at. And you just want to be a white supremacist in the safety of your own home. So you go on Parler. And I just want to have a safe space to be racist. So I go on Parler. That's exactly what Parler is. Parler is a safe space. It's a safe space for white supremacists who feel like they need a place where they can let all of their real feelings and emotions out.
Yo, if you say some racist stuff on Parler, and you live in Toledo, I'm going to screenshot it and post it on Facebook. So yeah, we're going to take a quick break. We're a little bit over time. So I'm hanging there. Keep on listening.
Yes.
I promise we got some criticisms to go around here. We started off with the right. We got some criticisms of the left or the moderate Democrats.
Okay.
Right. And and yeah, we even got some criticisms maybe of our own culture. Maybe.
Sir, my culture is perfect.
All right, y'all. I'm Julian.
I'm Ruth.
And thanks for listening to
Together United. We'll be right back.
Hold on. Are we off air, Trevor? Wait, where's Trevor? Are we off air, Trevor? All right.
Hey, guys.
Yo. Yeah, okay. So it was hard to not cuss. Yes. Parlor is the most snowflakeiest shit ever. I totally agree with you, Mr. Cobb.
Wait, what did he say?
He said it's the most snowflakeiest shit ever.
Yes.
That's true. That's very true. It's weird, like the people who have been calling us soft snowflakes. Well, I don't even whatever. Like it's just hilarious that like now they've built their own safe space, but
Yes.
it's not safe because I'm on there, and I I got no problem getting in the.
Getting in the fray.
I have no problem getting into it in general with Republicans online or just in person when I have the energy for it. Danny Cobb, let's give you a little shine here. All right. Danny Cobb says, "Hey Jules, I'm running for GOP chair. I get to tell them why they suck to their face and they have to listen." Danny, I wish you the best of luck with that. There's a lot going on with the. Yeah, I would like to know why they stepped down. I that's what I don't understand. So so to those that are just watching and wondering what's going on, I believe the chair of the Lucas County Republican Party stepped down. And shout out to Danny, right? Like he's on the right, but the libertarian right, you know what I mean? But still tunes in. I know this he tunes in to watch. So I appreciate that. We're kind of building a consistent following. Like shout out to Patty, right? If you want to shout out, comment. Okay, shout out to Patty. All right, we love your comments. We love you watching. Shout out to Abby. Okay, all right, Danny. I'll have to call or text you tomorrow. Let's see. Or we just got to do lunch sometime for real.
Wait, what's happening?
I wanted the tea on what happened with the Republican Party. But
What's the tea?
just we don't gotta broadcast that we gotta have that
You said it.
All right, it's just us and the internet.
How you gonna tell
All
me?
right.
And then I
Okay.
respond, "What's the tea?" And then you say, "No. What?
Shh. Y'all don't tell anybody. It's just us talking, right? Like,
I can't.
all right. Let's see. Okay, we got Abby on here. I'm pretty sure we got Andrew. Andrew, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with us. Listen, man, it means a lot that y'all hang out with us. It means a lot, right? And especially the people that are starting to be consistent.
This is fun.
Ruth is on one tonight. Trevor, how long we got till the next till we go in again? How much time?
Got about 3 minutes.
Okay, cool. We got about 3 minutes till we come back. All right. All right. I want to make sure we get these lined up right.
And an unnecessary twist. I have the theme song from Pete and Pete stuck in my head right now. So do with that what you will.
All right. So we got the Obama clip. Are we just gonna play this and see how it goes?
Does your dog bite? It's in me. Nah.
Babe. All right, babe.
Does your dog bite?
Bring it here. Bring it back. Bring it back.
No, I'm gonna be like you talking
Bring it
about.
back.
What were you talking about? You took that hard ass left.
That was not a hard left. That
First
was
of all,
right
no,
with the
we were
conversation.
talking about Drain the Swamp.
And I
I threw Drain the Swamp out there for a hot second, and then you said, "Let me read this 15-paragraph soliloquy about draining the swamp."
Yo, it was on point though.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It was a one-off,
Watch,
and you
when we-
took a full detour.
Okay, when we go back and listen to the podcast, we're gonna
Yes,
see.
feed
I
me.
bet that was
With Petunia.
that was very much on topic.
Okay. You know what? Fine, I'll give it to you. So guys,
What are we playing these clips in?
I don't know.
What we got?
Hold on. Let me.
Let's make sure we queued up.
Hold on. Let's see.
Yo, that nurse's clip was nice though.
I feel like he played Overlord.
I thought that.
I mean, it did, but it was still a little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so.
We got
We got Bucklack. 50 cents.
Got about 1 minute.
And
What's this?
What is
wait, hold on.
Got it. The article. That's what we're missing.
Oh, that's the article.
Well, that's the article.
Have you read the article?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, where's the book?
Right there.
Okay. Can you grab it for me?
It's way too far.
It's not far.
30 seconds?
Who was that?
Somebody from Twitter.
No, but like, what are they talking about?
Another BLM apologist. Oh boy. Don't let me get on these trolls.
15 seconds?
What is a BLM apologist? I believe my Black Lives
10.
Matters.
9, 8,
Get out of here.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. We're back for the second installment of Together United. Alrighty, so
we started off talking about Trump and
now-
Trumpism and how he's
And now we
and how
are
he's- Can I finish what I was saying?
well, we started talking at the same time.
Okay.
It's really interesting.
So we were talking about
We started talking at
the
the same time. But then he wins.
okay. Can I go?
Yes.
All right. So we were talking about in the last segment, if you're just joining us, the Trumpism, right? And the issue with that. One thing I want to bring up is how Trump is. Bring up that tweet, Ruth. Blind.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. All right. Like, how many clues can I give you before?
Don't be rude.
Okay. So, you got me all flustered now.
Yes, I do.
Not in that good way, in a frustrating way. All right. So we were talking about Trump and Trumpism and how it's so dangerous. Okay. Boom. Then we were talking about the separation and the difference between Trump and the Republican Party and how this delineation is starting to happen and how I think that forecast issues, not just for those on the right, but all of us collectively, issues that we will have as a country, as a huge part of the right goes into this completely fictional Trump cult world. Now, we try to connect all of this to what happens local, right? National politics means nothing until you break down how it affects you on a local level. So this week, our governor Mike DeWine, who was a Republican, but in no way a moderate at all. Like, it's wild. Like, DeWine is not a moderate Republican. He is not John Kasich at all. But because he accepts the factual results of the election, Donald Trump is already offering or threatening to primary him, right? Tweet says, who will be running for governor of the great state of Ohio will be hotly contested.
No.
Now, you know, for all of the criticisms I have about DeWine, one of these days we're really going to have to get into him because, you know, I have to say, like, he's passing, right, with the way that he's handling COVID, right? Like, he's like, okay, if it was a class and it was satisfactory or unsatisfactory, I'd give him a satisfactory. he gets an S.
Okay.
Right? Like now, if we're getting into letter grades,
Yeah.
C minus, but he still passes the class.
Right.
All right. So, so I mean, essentially, because he's competent and he's living in reality.
Look at how low the bar is.
That is where the bar is right now.
Look
Like,
at how
are you living
low.
in reality? Is COVID real? Are people getting it from gathering with each other and not wearing masks? Yes. So we're going to stop people. We're going to do what we can to prevent people from gathering together and highly encourage businesses to mandate masks.
Right.
And here comes the false, faux outrage from science deniers, mask debaters, and all of that. But I mean, it's barely competence, right? Like now let's get out of the fake imaginary Trumpism world and bring it back to reality.
Right.
It's barely competent because what should be happening in all reality, in my humble opinion, we can get rid of COVID, but we got to sit down, stay inside. And in order to effectively do that, we have to be paid. Seriously. Like we can't be going broke inside our own homes.
Unfortunately,
We have to have health care.
Congress, I believe, went on their holiday break without passing another COVID relief package. So obviously, we will continue to not be paid.
Right. Like as long as in this capitalistic system, as people feel like they won't be able to feed themselves,
Right.
they're going to continue to interact with other people, and COVID is going to continue to spread.
That's
Right.
right.
Like it's not that complicated.
Right.
Right. Unless we can shelter in place,
Mhm.
which we were doing for a while. You know what I mean?
But then they realized how much it was going to cost to continue to do that. And too many people were having to give up their yachts and their very expensive lifestyles in order to help the greater good. And therefore, we had to go back to work, or we had to open the country back up because we couldn't afford to continue to pay people to stay home and protect themselves, because we live in a capitalistic society. Too many businesses were closing. Too many organizations weren't able to meet the demands of the people. So,
and here's the thing. Here's what really grinds my gears, right? Is we can support, like if we gave the kind of money to the people and to small businesses that we give to these large corporations that didn't even need it, we could handle COVID.
right.
Right? Like I think that there's a misconception of folks of our political persuasion that we somehow don't care about small businesses,
Right.
or that we're somehow like don't care that our local bar owners or our local small businesses and restaurants are shutting down. Like, no, they deserve to be bailed out, right? But does
You gotta
ProMedica need a bailout?
Main
No.
Street, not
Right.
Wall Street.
Thank you.
That's the main purpose of this. When there should be a way that small businesses like the bar or the bookstore or the barbershop are able to continue to make ends meet when we are in the middle of a global pandemic. One, that America is failing in every iteration of possible conceptions. Like, the people who are dying from this don't even believe that they're dying from this. So we still have to deal with that level of cognitive dissonance. And then put on top of that the amount of people who have to continue to go out to work or go into schools or go out into the world when there's nothing put in place to keep us safe, right? We have these mandates. If you're going to go out, wear a mask. But there's nothing in there that we can say will keep us at home. When we had that initial bailout, that $600 for people who were collecting unemployment, that BS $1,200, that one-time $1,200 payment, that kept some people afloat for a very minuscule period of time, then things were looking okay. And now that we've gotten to this point where you are simply on your own while still having to fight a pandemic, and the powers that be still do not care enough to create another COVID relief package, like, it makes you just really frustrated with the overall way that America is existing right now. And now we have a comment that says, where does this money come from? This is where we have a disconnect. That will devalue the dollar, and that's how you get bread lines. Yes, people are dying. Yes, COVID's real. Since when does the government care about people's lives? This is about a government control. Cancer, fat butt disease, car accidents all kill more. This was about control. So here's my thing.
Okay. Go ahead, and then I'm
okay, so here's my thing. When it comes to where does the money come from, it comes from all of those gigantic bailouts you're giving to places like ProMedica and to airline companies. It comes to those big businesses that you were able to give PPE loans or whatever the PPE loans that we had earlier in the year. That's where that money came from. That money needs to go to these small businesses and to these individuals who are being directly affected. I want to know why it is possible to do that one-time $1,200 payment, but you can't do it again. I want to know why it is possible to add that $600 in unemployment checks back then for those for that period of weeks, but you can't do it again. And yet and still you can continue to bail out these major businesses, which actually boil down to a handful of people. There is a reason why we have a 1% in this country that is able to have all of the wealth for the majority of the people made up within this one pot of people. What has to happen is you have to start taxing these millionaires and billionaires. And I hate to get on my Elizabeth Warren soapbox, but that's what's necessary. Because when it comes down to times like these, you have to have a government that is able to protect its people. And what the government is not doing currently is protecting its people. So yes, while I completely understand that it may end up in a devaluation of the dollar, what is more important than any of that is the fact that you have lost over, 250,000 people to something that could have been prevented if you would have put fiscally responsible individuals in place who were able to take care of individuals, because this country had to shut down because the leadership was inept. If you have leadership that is not able to take care of its people, there is a fiscal consequence, and that's what we have right here.
All right. So Ruth, if you can, please cue that next video up.
Give me a second.
Take your time. So here's my issue, right? We received a one-time $1,200 per adult payment, right? Other countries, right, like Hong Kong, $1,200 per adult monthly. Japan, $930 per adult monthly. Singapore, $422 per adult monthly. And South Korea's government sent $820 checks.
We're all finding ways to keep moving.
Monthly. European countries, right, continue to send this money. All right, the money is there. The Tupac quote, there's money for wars, but not to feed the poor. The money's there when they need it for other things, right? But let's go ahead and see what the current circumstances are in, right? Because here's this debate that's always made is that, if we bring up, if we give out money, there's going to be bread lines. There are bread lines right now. Let's go ahead and roll this footage. This is from Dallas, Texas.
When you take a wider view from the air, the length of the line was as far as the eye could see, backed up onto the freeway. But for those in the line, they saw something else.
I see blessings coming to us because we all struggling, and I appreciate North Texas helping us out.
There we go.
All right.
Samantha Woods was one of the estimated 25,000 people who benefited from the giveaway.
It really is amazing. And I thank God that I was able to get in the line this morning.
Each of them thankful, grateful, and very candid about how tough this past year has been.
I haven't been working since December. Can't find a job. They cut off my unemployment. It's a big deal. It's a real big deal.
So this is a big blessing for us to be able to get this.
The food drive brought out several organizations, including the North Texas Food Bank, to distribute more than 500,000 pounds of food.
It was a whole lot of people that pitched in on this. Like I said, me partnering up with the North Texas Food Bank and the Tarrant County Food Bank, Pastor Brown bringing in those volunteers in the Baptist Ministers Union.
For those who showed up, there was really just one thing required of them.
We have patience. We got patience.
The ability to wait a bit, as so many others found themselves with the same need. It's a grim reminder of how much COVID has ripped people's livelihoods. But it's also proof that together, as humans, we can get through this.
Thank you, North Texas. Happy holidays.
With a little kindness.
So, this idea that, there aren't people starving now. That's 2,500 people that were standing in line, now in their car in line, right? But standing in line for food. That looks like a 21st version of
21st century.
21st century, thank you. 21st century version of like those pictures we see in the Great Depression. And the thing is we are the wealthiest country on earth right now. And
but you know what? Even that
other countries other countries can take care of their people.
Even that terminology, though, being the wealthiest country on earth, that's still not true for the most part. Now, we may have some of the wealthiest citizens. Oh, I thought that one of
I know you did not drink my Red Bull.
I thought they were for each of us.
I got you 2 monsters.
I'm
you gonna
sorry.
drink my other Red Bull.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's how you know we're in a relationship. No, so
you know what those monsters do to my stomach. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought that we each got a monster and a Red Bull.
No, you got the monster because your stomach can handle the monsters. My stomach can't handle monsters.
Okay,
that's why I drink the wintertime Red Bull.
Like I was saying.
All right. Finish your point and let's go to break.
Trevor, please edit. No, what I was saying is that while America may be seen as the most richest country in the world, that's actually not true. It is actually home to the handful of the richest individuals. I think that's where the confusion takes place, because when you look at places like DC or Baltimore, even, where you can have one block that's really, really wealthy and the next block over is the doldrums of a community. We also are the country that has that 1% that holds the majority of the wealth in the country. And then you have the 99%. So even when you talk about America being the richest country in the world, you have to realize that it is not
we don't spread that wealth around.
Right. It's not spread to all of the citizens of the country. So I think that's why
we need to spread the bread, baby.
Okay.
Spread the bread.
And on that note, is that like a thing?
Spread the bread.
Is that a thing?
It is now.
Spread the bread?
Spread the bread.
It sounds like something you would do with butter.
Spread the bread,
okay.
America.
Okay.
Spread the bread. Hashtag spread the bread.
No.
All right. We got to take a break.
We have to take a break. I
got to
go
talk
find
to
him
Ruth about
a Red Bull.
Why she drank my Red Bull.
I thought it was
Mm-mm. We'll be back.
We'll be right
Hi,
back.
I'm Julian.
And I'm Ruth.
And we'll be back for more
Together United. I'm sorry. Mwah.
Yo.
He's really upset.
Yo. I got the special kind. It's the winter edition.
I didn't know.
I got you 2
I thought
Monsters.
that we got one each.
No, you don't even like Red Bull.
I don't. It wasn't very
So
good.
why wouldn't you just have the drink that you like?
I got 6 minutes lined up. I'll be right back.
Thank
All
you.
right.
He's really upset about this. You want some of my Monster?
No, I don't want your Monster. Monster messes up my stomach.
What? You didn't say that.
You know this.
I
All right, y'all.
No, he's not.
Let me
gonna
regroup. I'm trying to regroup myself.
He's not going to regroup.
I'm trying to regroup myself. I
You
can't.
didn't see me drinking it this whole time?
No, that's until I looked over there and I saw it, and I'm like, I know you're drinking my Red Bull.
I gotta add some water to it.
I don't want no water. It's
Okay.
a special.
Well, what if
winter-
I mix it with the Monster?
No. I'm just gonna finish this one and be cool.
Done.
I'm sorry. I completely messed up that clip. Yo, like,
It really is.
yo, I can't. Look, we like stopped. Look,
The
you have no
whole
idea how
podcast.
you have no idea how far this goes back though. Like I left room. We went out to eat, and I left room in my stomach specifically. Like I was smashing on one of my favorite meals, and I left just enough room in my stomach to smash, and I was gonna have this Red Bull, right? Like it was like the highlight of the night. I don't drink, so like Red Bull is the closest thing I get to like I'm sipping something, right? Like that's my yak, right? Like, who?
Okay, but
And
here's the thing.
like,
We
I
went
got
out-
her. So she asked for a Monster. Do I get her 1 Monster? I get her 2 Monsters, right? And I get me 2 Red Bulls.
But he did not make it explicitly clear. I thought it was going to be like a little one-on-one thing. So we both get 1 Monster and we both get 1 Red Bull because he's been telling me about the Red Bull
No.
and he's been talking about it. So I was like, oh, okay, he got me one.
No.
I want to go back and listen because
No, you can listen when you drink your
no, like when the podcast is over. Like I just want to go back to the period where you realize because it everything paused.
All right.
This was no
Do we
longer
have
a
the other-
political commentary. This was
Do we have the other? We were talking about like hunger and poverty. It was really important
This
too.
was a reckoning
Like
for me drinking.
the whole second half of my day, though, like it wouldn't be that such a big deal, but the whole second half of my day has been centered around me having this Red Bull. Like you got to understand, like this is one of my delicacies in life. Like, oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, baby. I'll get you one tomorrow.
I don't want one tomorrow. I want one when we do the show. All right. Okay. It's cool. It's cool. There was half of it left. It's cool.
It is not cool.
It was half of it left.
He's gonna talk about this tomorrow.
No. All right. We got like a bunch more stuff to talk about.
He's gonna
So
wake up frustrated.
let's make sure we got what other clips we got. I just want to make sure
We
that
got
we got Barack Obama,
we got 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
We got another Barack Obama.
Okay.
You keep adding stuff.
Cause
Why you keep adding stuff?
I try to
Okay.
I want to make the conversation interactive
Oh my
with
god.
the audience.
Yeah, you were talking about cornbread.
I can't. Ugh.
I told you he wasn't over it. I told y'all.
I didn't even say it. I didn't even say anything.
Oh yeah, because we all just stupid and don't know what's going on right now. None of us were here 3 minutes ago.
I'm totally going to cut that up and make my ringtone my Red Bull.
Oh
I tried to like not say like.
my gosh. No, you didn't.
I couldn't.
As soon as you noticed it, it became a thing. Okay, so
All right.
all right. So we still have that. Like we haven't even
Got about
made
50
it.
seconds here.
We're gonna get to it.
Okay. Really, you won't sit next to me no more?
We got to do a whole half of the podcast. All right. Where's this stuff?
What?
30 seconds.
All right.
What?
All right, y'all.
What happened?
Oh, man. Like,
You're stewing.
that is like my thing, though. Like,
A little spittle.
okay. Like, y'all don't understand. Like,
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
it's the special winter edition. Like, I even got it in season. Like, there's a summer edition, there's a fall edition, and there's a winter edition. I even got the winter edition. All right. All right. Like,
He's not over it. Okay.
okay.
All right.
What's
our time looking like?
I think a minute. Well, we got a minute.
No, how do you say like 50 seconds?
Oh, no, we're live. I didn't hear it.
Oh!
Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening back. You're listening to 106.1 WAKT. I'm Julian.
And I'm Bruce.
And welcome to the thievery edition of Together United, where we talk about how much the rich are taken from the poor, when really, if we focus on the 1% of energy drinks in our home, it's actually being taken by the one that you love the most. So I'm gonna try to bring this back around. Let's see. Obama has a new book out. He was on 60 Minutes. Let's play the clip. Right? Where's the clip? Where's the clip?
It hurts. Wait, that's not it. Oh my God.
There
We're
it
gonna
is.
get fired from
Your
volunteering.
In this moment for President Trump.
Well, a president is a public servant. They are temporary occupants of the office by design. And when your time is up, then it is your job to put the country first and think beyond your own ego and your own interests and your own disappointments. My advice to President Trump is, if you want at this late stage in the game to be remembered as somebody who put country first, it's time for you to do the same thing.
In your view, it is time for him to concede.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think it was time for him to concede probably the day after the election, or at the latest 2 days after the election. When you look at the numbers objectively, Joe Biden will have won handily. There is no scenario in which any of those states would turn the other way, and certainly not enough to reverse the outcome of the election.
This year,
Okay. So thank you, President Obama, for your soothing voice to help calm this black man's nerves. You can't really be as angry when Obama's talking. He just has this voice that calms you.
He wrote a book.
Yeah, A Promised Land. But
Nope, now you sound like Jesse Jackson.
my word. Okay, I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave it alone. All right.
Why you Obama sound like Jesse Jackson?
But it sounds like Jesse Jackson because you took my Red Bull. All right. So okay, I'm trying to keep it together, y'all. So
I'm done.
let's talk about Obama. Let's talk about rap music. Okay. I'm gonna get this show back on track if I have to pull you on. I'm gonna pull you back into focus on this. Okay.
God.
Where's the article? No.
I know it's that one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we've got more moderate. So yeah, Obama's right. Trump needs to concede. It's common sense. We've been talking about it all show.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But here's something that's interesting. So Obama released a book called The Promised Land, and he talked about. So okay, in the midst of all of this, let's refocus here. So in the midst of all of this that's going on with Republicans, right, in a completely fictional world, fantasy land, right, where COVID isn't real, where getting 5 million votes less means you won the election, when facts don't matter. Okay, there's also this problem that the Democrats have of, now they'll embrace reality, but it's tainted. It has another tint to it, right? It's still not real. And here's what I mean. All right. So one of the quotes is about Obama and the increase in black males specifically voting for Donald Trump. Obama says, I have to remind myself that if you listen to rap music, it's all about the bling, the women, the money. He continued, a lot of rap videos are using the same measures of what it means to be successful as Donald Trump. Everything's gold plated. That insinuates itself and seeps into the culture. And I disagree. Right? One, I think it's a dangerous trope to try to blame the near loss of this election on black men. One. Okay. So I think early numbers are showing that, and these are on some flawed exit polls, right? That up to, in some places, up to 20% of black men voted for Donald Trump. Which is not, like I said, these are some flawed early exit polls. I don't even think it's that high. There's a few issues I have with this. One, it's a, I don't like what this says about black folks have shown up and won this election, right? The same black folks that were in the streets protesting in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Atlanta are the same ones that have been oppressed by this country and disenfranchised and listen to a lot of rap music, right? I think this false narrative, and then the other thing, right? Like rap embraced Donald Trump as an individual, not as president. Nipsey Hussle and YG said it best. Hashtag FDT, right? If you know, you know, right? Somebody put it in the comments. FDT, hashtag FDT, right? And y'all know what that is, right? There's no love. There's really no love in the black community for Donald Trump. Okay, just because Lil Wayne jumps on stage, sells out, and tries to get, it's the same thing as this AstroTurf, right? Like, and we call AstroTurf in grassroots organizing, right? When you send in like fake people to make it appear like there's more support than there actually is. I hate to say it, but Lil Wayne does not represent the soul of hip hop right now. Neither does Kanye, and 50 Cent, as we will show, was just really messing around. Ruth, can we play that clip of 50 Cent real quick?
Sure can.
So this is 50 Cent on The Breakfast Club, talking about his part he played in all of this foolishness.
Particularly you guys, I feel more comfortable having this conversation with y'all because of what the show is, what it is now. I come to y'all and talk about them offering me $1 million to go to Trump's inauguration, right? I passed them $1 million.
But they offered $1 million, and you said nah.
500,000, and it went up to $1 million while I was still confused with whether I should do it.
Right.
Why were you confused? Just because of the money?
Oh wait, no. He was needing it for the same reasons you see now. He participated with different artists and shit like that for the black vote. Like he was looking at like, you know, and I'm going, but nah, I ain't gonna put myself in that position because I don't know what I had to do to recover from it, right? Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, and I'm looking, going, nah, I'll pass. Cool. And you see later when you see. I'm watching the news and they go across CNBC by the tax plan, and it's like 62%. I go, oh, yo, we missed that part. They never talked about that part in the debates. See, it's because COVID is such an issue that it overshadowed everything else in those plans. This is why the following day, my Instagram post is on the cover, puts me on the cover of the newspaper.
Right.
Because if it's not on topic, that's not gonna happen. You're not gonna cover the newspaper. And people go, "Oh, well, why don't you say this, say this?" I get all these phone calls because I know you don't feel like that. Why you don't say this? And I'm like, why do you care to fix it? See, if you can't be used, useless. Just don't use me till I get a chance to use me, or until I'm all used up. If they're deciding to take that post and make it the cover of the newspaper, okay, so it doesn't change my intentions or what I would actually do.
So Wayne definitely got a check then.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I can pay, but easily you got paid. He had the sweater and the picture at the.
Fifth, how we know you didn't get paid to tweet that about Biden's tax plan though?
I mean, I didn't get paid for that. I didn't do that. You know, like that was name. When I did just put it up, it was. How did I know that they were going to put it on the cover of the newspaper?
Right.
I didn't know that.
Okay. 50 Cent really isn't the most trustworthy person either. Right, like I add, and he's trying to dig himself out of and he's reaching on to any credibility. 50 Cent is no fool, right? And he realizes the sinking ship that Trump is on, and what you see is him really trying to play damage control and Olivia Pope scandal, clean that mess up. Ruth.
All I know is that I didn't see not one black woman rapper showing up to cape for Trump. It is very obvious where the loyalties lie when it comes to all of the people who are fans and proponents of these rappers. These rappers do not give a flying whoop about y'all when it comes to their bottom line, which is their taxes if they're smart enough to pay them. And yes, 50 Cent did wisen up because he may have put it out as a joke or what have you, that after he saw Trump's tax plan, that he was going to support Trump and had no problem saying that out loud. But I mean, it also goes to show you how quickly they will throw each other under the bus, because 50 Cent, like, everybody was hush, hush, quiet, quiet. No?
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Let's just start here. Like, I've been a hip hop fan for a long time, and I will, dare I say, right, as I'm 36 and getting older, like, hip hop is in great shape right now. You always, in every industry, have your gatekeepers, right, that try to, and this is indicative of what, I'm gonna keep dropping this term, is maybe every episode of the Black Misleadership class, right, that tries to cherry pick a few issues and act like they're speaking for the Black community when actually they're not.
But nobody asked them.
Exactly. Any listener of hip hop, right, like, We listened to the new Megan Thee Stallion today. She's talking about Breonna Taylor. Listen to the new Jeezy today. He's talking about George Floyd. You listen to, I mean, for goodness sakes, we had one of the most historic moments in hip hop history last night with Versus with Gucci and Young Jeezy. And it opened up with Stacey Abrams telling people to register to vote. Right? Like, let's not fall for the fake false narrative. Yes. You know what I mean? Republicans are living in a fantasy world. But if you're not careful, these Democrats and these moderates will also paint a false narrative for you. There aren't a lot of black men that are voting for Donald Trump. Look, the fact of the matter is there are more people that voted in this election than have ever voted before. So numbers are up and there's a more diverse electorate. And there is an element of accountability, right? That, look, there's always been black folks that vote Republican. There's always been black men that vote Republican. That's not new. And there is a frustration. Like, let's get down to the real deal. There's a frustration of blind loyalty to moderate Democrats that don't get in there and actually fight for the real people, right? That is what the frustration is, I think, with some folks. And to confuse that and to conflate that, Obama's a very smart man with just, oh, black men like shiny things like Donald Trump is I feel like a very disingenuous misnomer.
Don't you dare. Because you can go through the catalog of music where rappers are bragging and loving Donald Trump. So
but that's not Donald Trump. That's not as a candidate.
There is a modicum of reality in what he is saying. That men identified, rappers identified with the flashy Donald Trump that he was.
No.
Now, granted, what he is now is not the same thing. I will give you that, but it does not negate the fact that Donald Trump has been trash since trash has been trash,
right.
And black men still wanted to be like him. That you can't deny that.
But not as a political candidate.
No one cares about him. I think, okay. So,
no, the whole context of what Obama's saying is that black men voted for Donald Trump because of bling bling, basically. Like, and I think that is a stereo.
I think there's a part of all of this that is still the reality.
No.
That there are still some black men who don't pay attention to Donald Trump as president.
That's a stereotypical view of black men that I think Obama is better than. And as a black man, I think that he has a responsibility to not fall into and perpetuate those tropes of black men. Like it's no different. Like, and it's so frustrating to see other black men, especially ones that are supposed to be on your side, traffic in these toxic tropes, right? Like it's no different than like the black on black crime thing. Like it's a misnomer. It's like it's not correct.
Okay, so here's the thing,
it's a stereotype.
Here's the thing, though.
That's being given credibility by the first black president. That's a problem.
So wait, it's being given credibility by the first black president because the quote unquote gatekeepers of rap are choosing to side with Donald Trump?
No, are being put on a pedestal to give the false impression, right, that more black men are voting for Trump than actually are.
But this
because
was before.
Because bling bling.
This was
because
before.
all because of bling bling.
No, this was
like
before.
That's what I don't care for.
No, because Ice Cube came out before Election Day. Lil Wayne came out before Election Day. 50 Cent made his statement before Election Day. So like all of this, this belief that that black men
50 Cent, Kanye, Ice Cube don't represent most rappers, don't represent most hip hop opinions. Like, how are we not talking about, like I said, Nipsey, Common, all these other, Jeezy, Rose? Like, are you kidding me? Like, there are tons of other rappers that like do not hold that opinion, have been very vocal. Like, to cherry pick these 3 or 4 is just disingenuous. And like I said, we don't even know if those numbers are truly correct. Like, and I just don't care too much for that stereotype.
Okay, so then
being
how were they
promoted.
selected? Do you think that just because they were paid, they decided to
I
come out?
talked to a man here in Toledo in 2016. I'm
asking.
I'm telling you, that was a black man here in Toledo that flashed me $400 that Donald Trump paid him to be on the front row of his campaign.
So yes,
it's fake. It's fake. And now there is a true issue. Like, and that's the thing, folks aren't looking at the real issue. There is a real issue that I think black folks are tired of these moderate policies and Democrats not having a backbone and sticking up for them, right? Like, that is real. But there isn't some huge dim exit to Donald Trump in the Republican Party just because Lil Wayne, Ice Cube, and Bling Bling. And I think Obama knows better than that. And I'm disappointed in him.
Why?
And it hurts. It hurts.
Why do you think Obama knows better than that? Obama is one of the biggest moderate Democrats
I think
there
it's
possibly
it's
could be.
lazy. It was a lazy analysis.
Obama is a moderate.
Okay,
like,
but he
I don't
is
understand how you still don't get how moderates work. That's the thing. That's the thing that is still confusing to me. Like, I am new to politics in the grand scheme of my young adult life and my young adult to mid-30s. The entire time I've been voting, I have been ingrained in this for a much smaller period of time than you have.
Mhm.
And so why you are still surprised by moderate Democrats acting like moderate Democrats, using the same talking points and then creating talking points that fall in line with moderate Democrats, you're still surprised. How?
I mean, I just expect more.
Stop expecting more
feel
from
like
politicians.
No, but I feel like, I don't know, man. You're right. And there are other problematic things that, Obama's trafficked in and that just simply aren't true. You know what I mean? Like
this whole book, and I know there's supposed to be 2 volumes of it, but volume 1 does very little to talk about all of the garbage that he was responsible for as president. And I am firm in my belief that I have a blind spot for Obama. Okay, there are certain things that I can admit that I have a blind spot for. Michael Jackson, I got a blind spot for him. I refuse to believe that anything happened with them kids. It's a lie. Michael Jackson is a saint. That's my blind spot.
Okay.
I know everything that happened. I've seen it all in front of me, but it's a blind spot. Barack and Michelle Obama, a blind spot, because I put what they have done for black children to know that they could grow up to become president. I hold that to a different esteem than I do all of the BS that he did as president. It's a blind spot. Does that mean that I don't know that it's happening somewhere in the back of my mind, that he was just as bad as every other president, with the exception of probably Trump?
No, I don't. I don't think he's just as bad as every president.
Okay,
I
I'm
think-
sorry, except for Lincoln. Like, look, I get it.
It's hard. That's a hard.
I get it. And look, I can
Yeah.
probably take that back and do a modicum of research and come up with 42 other presidents that were worse than Obama. Yes, for sure.
He's top 5
for sure.
But the thing is I think he's top 5 all
Okay.
presidents all time. But the thing is all of our presidents
Have done terrible
have
things.
done terrible things.
They
right?
have done
Like,
terrible
yeah.
things. They're human beings and they are ingrained in politics. And what politics is, and I believe politics will always be, is keeping a very exacting number of people in power to ensure that too many people don't reach certain levels, whether economically or socially. That's what I honestly believe politics is for. I've been watching The Crown. I know how politics work. Okay.
I think I just want to clearly like push back on this dumbing down, simplifying of black men to just, oh, we like bling like Donald Trump, and that's why we voted for him. One, it's inconclusive that more black men voted for Donald Trump. Two, there's a legitimate critique that some black men have of moderate Democrats that caused them to vote per the harmful moderate strategies of Clinton specifically, right? And I don't like, I take issue with with these tropes being dumbed down, right? Especially when everywhere else in society tries to put black folks in this small box, like we're monolithic and aren't thinking things through, right? I think that's what I take issue with, and I don't like it, and I already see what other black moderates, right? Like we talked about Jim Clyburn, South Carolina, and now Barack Obama this week are doing to try to discredit black people, some black people, and black men today, and Jim Clyburn last week tried to discredit folks in the movement that were calling for defund the police, when in all actuality, that segment of people are responsible for the actual victory of Joe Biden. Right. And if John Ossoff or Reverend Warnock are going to become senators, that same demographic of people that you're demonizing, and we're still like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're still having this conversation like ooh, rap bad, right? Like we're still like it's the Democratic Party, like especially those in the moderate wing of it are still stuck in this like 92 to 96 Bill Clinton era, and they're not connecting. That's it. It's a disconnection with the electorate, right? When I think it's never been more clear or easier to be connected with the electorate and black voters, right? And from someone that is as much of an intellectual and a thinker as Barack Obama, I just expect more, and I'm disappointed. Should I see the writing on the wall and that other tropes have been said like that before? You know, yeah, maybe I should, but his words hold weight, right? And that can be dangerous, especially like, so when we think about what could lose this primary or this runoff, not primary, this runoff election in Georgia, you know what'll turn off a lot of folks in Georgia is like, oh, they're trying to demonize me because I don't like black music, because I like rap music, right? Like this trope that like we're stupid and just like bling bling is problematic. So I just have a problem with it.
I don't know. Stacey Abrams may have a bit more weight than you give her credit for.
She has weight, but what Obama doing is that quote from Obama, I think can be harmful, right? Like I think that can be harmful, right? And so, all right, we promise we're gonna get to some local news
after the break.
I'm Julian,
and I'm Ruth,
and thank you for listening to
Together united. Okay.
All right.
I got it.
Woo!
We came back good.
I tried. I had to fucking tug a war your ass back on track. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh, Ruth. I see what you're Googling. You about to get us in trouble? All right. Man. Okay, what's up, y'all? What up? Man. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we're gonna keep it going. Any comments? Please go ahead and jump in. I want to hear what y'all got to say. We're on the break.
No. Why am I singing that song?
So we got two songs. Yo. So while we're on break, can we just talk about that Jeezy? How much time we got, Trevor?
Got about 4 minutes.
Okay.
Got about 4 minutes. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Killen. I have my...
Oops. So yeah, we gotta talk about babe. I don't know if you wanna we going into that tonight.
But on my neck, I hope you didn't pay them cause they didn't have no success. Go dig your partner up, nigga. I bet he can't say shit.
Yo, so while we're on break, I just want to bring up this historic moment in hip hop real quick with Jeezy and Gucci last night. Because we can't play this on the radio.
And if you're looking for the kid, I be in zone 6. I know it's hard for you.
How we gonna do this? Tell you what.
Sleep on when you kill your homeboy. You left his son to be a bastard, won't even raise your own boy. Damn.
Broke the internet. I tell you what.
Put that nigga ass in the dirt.
I tell you what.
Smoking on Pukalote tonight.
I tell you what. This how we gonna do this.
Send some more, I'ma send them the same way. In a box back to you.
Are you doing
free kill? Free kill.
I tell you what though. See, when I even called you and extended this invite, my nigga, I did it as a real man. It's been 20 motherfucking years.
15 years.
Okay, well, how many? You still talking the same shit. You feel me? Still talking the same shit.
Hey, man, you gotta take that.
Let me talk, my nigga. Let me talk.
Listen.
Let me talk.
I don't want to talk. I'm through talking. It's your turn to do the song.
That's
what
right.
are we gonna do?
That's right.
Are we gonna do some music?
I tell you what, my nigga. I tell you what. It go like this. When I extended the invitation, I did it as a real man. You feel me? Because I
told you straight off the dribble. I told you off the dribble, nigga. We can't do nothing if it ain't street. If I can't perform the truth, we can't do it.
It's all good. But let me say my piece. Let me say my piece.
Take off.
Let me say my piece. It's like this, bro. I extended my hand because I'm a real man. And the shit we came from in the street, dog, you seen it, we been through it, dog. 20 years. 20 years. And when I said I wanted to do this shit for the culture, that's what I wanted to do, nigga. I brought you here to show you the world care about what the fuck we got going on, because we are the culture. You feel me? Me and you. Where we came from. What we been through, nigga. Us. Me and you. All these kids out here doing what the fuck they do because they saw what went on with us, dog. So this shit ain't about me. This shit ain't about you. You feel what I'm saying? This shit about King Von. This shit about Dope B. This shit about Nipsey Hussle. This shit about motherfucking Pop Smoke, M3. And I'm real enough to do that, nigga, because one thing about it, 2 things for sure, 3 things for certain, nigga. I'm the realest nigga in it.
Then you see that the tension is very, very thick in the room. You can tell.
So yeah, that was from the Jeezy Gucci battle yesterday. And I thought that was a really special moment in hip hop, right? Like, essentially things de-escalated from there, right? Like it everything calmed down, right? Like, but it was and they've had beef for a long time, right? And I don't know, it just went to show, like, since we're talking about Obama and all that, like, that was one of the best moments in hip hop I've ever seen, right? Where 2 men that were beefing that really could have ended up killing each other, ended up putting things aside and unifying, right?
30 seconds
to do the same song together, right? So while we're talking about all these toxic tropes in hip hop, right, I think we have to acknowledge some of the beauty that came from it and how I actually think hip hop is in great shape right now. You look at the Busta album.
10, 9,
all
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
You're listening to WAKT
106.1 Toledo, Ohio.
I'm Julian.
And I'm Ruth.
And welcome back to another episode of
Together United. Apparently I was by myself.
Together United. Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry, I didn't have Red Bull. Got a little tired. All right. So, Ruth, can you tell me, before we get to the local news, there was a versus yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about it?
I was
Jeezy
very concerned at one point.
Jeezy versus Gucci.
Yeah,
I'm trying to. You know.
I can talk.
Okay, I'm trying to set it up.
I can set it up.
Go ahead.
Goodness gracious! So yesterday there was the Jeezy versus Gucci Mane versus. It came on apparently very late from when it was supposed to come on.
45 minutes.
But so here's the thing. I know about 4 total Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy songs, like full beginning to end songs.
Maybe you shouldn't be talking.
But I am fans of them. Like, okay, so here's the thing. I am a fan of hip hop in a very unconventional way. So, like, I know Young Jeezy from, like, he's dating a girl from that one TV show.
Oh, God.
And I know Gucci Mane because he got the ice cream tattooed on his face. He was real fat from all of the lean. And then he lost a bunch of weight. Listen!
All right.
He lost a bunch of weight, got married. Apparently his girlfriend stole somebody else's lipstick. Whatever. But either way, he wrote a book. And so that's how I know Gucci. I'm not hood. I'm not street. I'm not one of the biggest proponents of rap outside of Eve's first album.
Gosh, you're starting to sound like Obama. What'd you think about
the battle? I was nervous early on because I thought that someone was going to get shot. Honestly, I thought somebody from Gucci Mane's clique was going to bust a shot in to literally anyone that was on Jeezy's side of the stage. It was very worrisome. Even being at home, I was concerned. But I enjoyed it because, like, there were some songs that, like I said, I did know beginning to end, and I could, like, throw in a little ad lib here and there. It was fun though. Like, okay, so Gucci is like supreme trash talker numero uno. Like he came out the gate and just look at my opponent.
Yeah, with a
Like,
battle rap. Yeah.
With like out the gate, just fabulous with his disses. And then there was, I guess he had a couple of diss tracks that were just for Jeezy.
But do you understand what they were like? How serious this beef was?
Yes, I read the book.
Okay, so you know that allegedly one of Jeezy's people put out a hit.
Yes,
Jeezy put out a hit on Gucci, and Gucci shot.
Yes.
His.
Was it his cousin?
One of the people that allegedly Jeezy had sent
to get him. So, excuse me. So yeah.
So the fact that they were just both on stage.
Yes, that's why it was so nerve-wracking.
Right.
Like, and I think that lots of credit needs to go to Jeezy's therapist, because Jeezy was really on some just like grown man. Like, I'm not about to sit up here and beef with you and go back and forth with you.
Dignified.
Yeah, type energy. And so I appreciated that out of Jeezy.
King. That's how you act like a king.
And he got Gucci to calm down, because Gucci was with the sugar honey iced teas.
Yeah. So there was this moment we played during the break that I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was about at the halfway point.
Yes.
Of the battle.
And it was a diss track, and
Gucci was repeatedly talking about he shot Jeezy's man and literally put him in the dirt.
Yes. And for anyone else, I think it was those were fighting words.
I mean, those are fighting words.
I mean,
right?
like
seriously, that's
like Jeezy's ability to not fight him after hearing that track. And I want to say that wasn't the first time. Like, I think did he do 2 back-to-back diss tracks?
He opened up with 2 tracks, and then he did 2 more diss tracks throughout the thing. Yeah.
And so just the fact that Gucci, like, it was a really interesting moment. Okay, so like,
because it was real life. It wasn't just rap beat.
But it was interesting because you got to see like 2 grown men's see their maturity levels. Because it felt like Gucci Mane was still who he was when the beef was happening.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Like 20 years ago?
15.
Yeah, like 15 years ago. Gucci was still that person 15 years prior.
Yeah, he was still living in it.
Yeah, and he was like trying to egg him on, like, come on, yeah, like it's still 2005, like I'm still that person. Whereas Jeezy was just like, nah, bro, that's old.
And that's where,
like, we've lost so many other men due to this type of I'm who I was 15 years ago mentality, that we can't afford to do that anymore.
And I know you're wondering how I'm going to segue this, but so right now we're under a 48-hour challenge from Councilwoman McPherson to stop gun violence for the next 48 hours, right?
Yes.
And while I do think her intentions are pure, I think we have to look at what more can we do than just asking, right? And I think that it takes, right, OGs that the youth look up to, seeing them squash these beefs publicly and acknowledging that is something that is important. Right.
Yes.
Like, that's something that's so important. Like, and I'm going to get even a little bit personal with this, right? Like, I remember, dare I say this, right? I remember in 2017 when me and Larry Sykes infamously got into it, right?
Okay.
And I remember one of the things that I proposed at the time was that, you know, if we publicly squash this, was that we go around talking to different youth, you know, about how this happened, and that we establish some sort of peer mediation that not just kids can go to, but that is available for adults as well, and promote that.
Mm-hmm.
It never really manifested. But when we talk about, but I mean, shoot, it's something that's still on the table. If this reaches his ears or any friends of his, I'm still down for that, right? Like, but no, I mean, it's easy. And that's the thing, right? It's just so easy to want to, like, I've been in one of these beefs where, like, I wanted to hurt that man, right? He grabbed me by my throat and slapped me in front of a room full of people. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to start some violence against him, right? Like, without a doubt, you know what I mean? Like, I've been there, but I think, like, but I didn't. And it was the right decision, you know, and we need to be able to translate that type of decision-making to other Black men or other men, even other people, right? Like, and promote, like, de-escalation, you know what I mean? Like, that's so important. And I think seeing folks actually do that, and I think giving folks the resources for that to happen, because I think it was obvious, like, Jeezy had to go through some sort of therapy, right? Like,
a lot of therapy.
Nobody would be that calm after something that visceral would happen, even after years or decades, right? Like, there would still be a lot of emotion, right?
Especially with it happening on stage, like,
right,
for that to be
so publicly and live, right? Like, and
like, I got upset for Jeezy listening to Gucci Mane's diss tracks. Like, you can't just say that to somebody's face.
Yeah.
But I'm not Jeezy.
Yeah. And so, you know, as we're in this period of 48 hours where we're, you know, hopefully there's no gun violence, and we're praying that there's no gun violence, and we support that, what she's doing. But there's obviously going to have to be more work done. And I propose, right, that we look at these issues a little more realistically and deeper, right, in how we can de-escalate situations that are escalating in our community. And when people need help from peers or some sort of mediator, making sure that that type of help is readily available.
Yes.
Now, as we bring it home, we're going to bring it home. We only got 8 minutes left. As we bring it home, we want to talk about red light cameras, right? So the red light cameras here in Toledo they're trying to bring them back. And they were deemed unconstitutional by the state of Ohio, but then they're Gretchen DeBacher, who works for the mayor's office, trying to reestablish them under some sort of statute. And in the midst of this conversation, so there was a testimonial part of city council because it went to committee. There were about 20 different people who testified why they did not want the cameras. After all of those people, and all of them demonstrated that they were against the traffic cams, Councilman Rob Ludeman had some select words of what he thought why people were against these body cams. And we're going to go ahead and play that right now.
Saw a comment down at the bottom that said, represent the people. The people don't want this. But I find that, and I think probably everybody on the panel, that the people who are law-abiding folks are not going to join this meeting. They are happy with driving the speed limit. They're not going to speed. I do wonder how many folks that came on today have received tickets from Red Flex in the past and just have a bit of an axe to grind. Will it make it better? I think it will make it better. I agree with Mr. Meldon there. Will it save lives? It definitely will save lives. And to be honest, folks, the bottom line is you shouldn't break the law. You shouldn't break the law, whether it's speeding. You shouldn't break the law when you go into a Walmart or any kind of a store and you don't steal anything from there. It's a matter of doing the right thing. And the right thing is to obey the traffic laws. So unfortunately, there's too many people that don't. So I'll fully support this. I think it's much better as it's being amended, and look forward to the vote at the next council meeting. Thank you.
Okay, so it's so disingenuous here, right? To act like anybody that criticizes current laws is breaking the law. Like, that is a trope that needs to stop, right? This is a free country. Our government is, based upon free speech and being able to criticize laws that aren't working or that people don't want. Just because you criticize a law does not mean that you should be categorized as a criminal. Right? And continuing to do that is problematic and undermines a lot of good people's work that are trying to do good things.
Rob Ludeman is a joke. Rob Ludeman is only standing up there or sitting there in his ivory Zoom tower stating these things because he no longer has to worry about running for election. Rob Ludeman believes in the fact that he can say these things because he has not been checked on them. And from what I can tell, no one is planning to check Rob Ludeman specifically on his belief that criticism means criminality. That is frustratingly upsetting because he represents a constituent of people who live in Toledo, who are actively speaking out against these red flex cameras. These are the same cameras that have been found to be, I don't know if it's unconstitutional, but illegal in their practices. I mean, the fact that red flex cameras are in existence at all means that there is a level of surveillance that is taking place in this city that, for all intents and purposes, as far as I believe with the ACLU, is unconstitutional. And therefore, you should be able to fight these tickets with everything that you have. And unfortunately, the individuals who would fight these tickets are the ones that are most likely to not be able to take off work in order to fight a ticket because they have to maintain their hours at their job. Therefore, Rob Ludeman can suck a bag of blanks because I have absolutely no idea why he believes that he can say this. The only thing I can possibly assume is that Rob Ludeman believes that Trump is still going to be president, and therefore he does not have to take any sort of responsibility for what he says or how he says it. Unfortunately, Rob Ludeman, that is not true. I hope and pray that red flex cameras are defeated at some point in the year 2021, because there is absolutely no reason for them to exist. Not only because they are a constitutional infraction on the civil liberties of individuals, but also because they breed corruption. I'll jump in right there. There we go. Thank you.
So in Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, right, there have been cases where, the owner of Red Flex, right, is set to serve 14 months in jail for trying to bribe folks, right? Like the Red Flex is a for-profit company, right? So their purpose is not to create safety, it's to make money. Right. And so when you have private corporations overseeing public safety and acting in the place of essentially police, right, then all of a sudden you're policing for profit, and catching people all of a sudden becomes a new way to tax citizens.
Yes.
Right. And essentially this becomes a poor tax or a Toledo tax because it's a way for the city to make money. Now, given the fact that, the cloud that the city of Toledo is under right now for allegations of corruption, I think the last thing that they should do is work with a company that has been corrupt.
And also, really quickly, the fact that Toledo is under this cloud of corruption for money laundering, whatever you want to call it. Please do not think that it stops at Toledo. Understand that it goes on a much higher level with the governor. Understand that it goes on a much higher level with what is householder, the Speaker of the House? Understand that it goes there. Understand that there are levels of corruption that do not have as much attention because of the fact that they are rich white men who are benefiting from the fact that they are rich white men. I want to give a shout out to Trevor Ryder, who is our producer. I want to give a shout out to WAKT 106.1. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Together United.
Peace.